Oh, good morning. As you can probably see, it snowed all night. Um, I knew it was snowing when the fire went out and I woke up. I had to pee. Of course, getting up to pee in this is a pain in the butt. You're zipped all the way. I'm zipped all the way into this sleeping bag, like this. And fire was keeping me warm pretty good. But then once it started snowing, it got windy too. The wind stopped and it just kept snowing. But my feet were a little bit cold. So what I ended up doing was, I didn't want to end up getting my tent and all my stuff like snowed on, you know what I'm saying? Just massively snowed on my chair and all that stuff. So, so in the middle of the night, I just said, you know what, I'm going to break the tent down. It's much easier to do it when it's not snowing, when it's not covered in snow. So as soon as it started to snow, I got up. It was just a little bit of snow. I got up, broke the tent down, folded up my tarp, got all my crap over there, put it in the sled, and then covered it all with the tarp so it doesn't get wet, so it doesn't get snowed on. However, I did remember my feet were cold as hell, and I was like, man, I got a space blanket in my survival kit. So I got it, and it definitely helped. This little space blanket, honestly, I just needed it for my feet, because I was pretty warm where this coat is, but I wrapped the space blanket down around my feet, and it helped a lot. And the fire kept going out. I ended up burning all my wood. I had to get up, I think twice, to pee. And when I did that, I just walked over to that deadfall over there, that tree, and just snapped some limbs off and broke up some branches. I burned up a lot of this green tree log, probably burned like 4 or 5 feet of it, 4 feet. And then all my big logs I had sitting right here, burned them up because it was cold, so I kept feeding the fire. And then I was running out of wood, so I had to snap up a few more twigs and logs and stuff. But my pillow was not too cold, even though it's probably a brick of ice at this point. It's just a little bit of water in it. It's my water jug. I just wrapped it up and figured I'd use that. Now the hard part, getting out and breaking up camp. Although I did it in the middle of the night, and I should have filmed it, but I just didn't think to do it. It was snowing. I was in a hurry. I didn't want to, dilly-dally. Plus it's dark. You can't really see nothing. It's blizzarding. I'm like, I'm just going to, nobody cares to see the tent, me breaking down the tent in the snow. Let's break it down, stuffed it in there, and anyway, so I got all my gear now, and now I'm going to hike it out of here. It's beautiful, very quiet, serene. I'm not looking forward to getting out of this cozy ass bed, but I will say this: I stayed warm. I survived the night through a blizzard. That's kind of what I was hoping for. I mean, it wasn't a blizzard, but we got 4 or 5 inches of snow, so. I think, honestly, the snow actually helped keep it warmer because it actually helped insulate my shelter. And typically when there's a large amount of cloud cover, it holds heat in and the temperature goes up. It's when you have a clearer sky or less clouds, then the heat rises and you have a much colder day or night. So this kind of made it warmer. I wouldn't say it was probably any less than 20 degrees last night. Probably 22, 24 degrees right now. I'm just glad I don't get to get this fire going. I'm going to make some tea. And I don't have any food, so that sucks. I did see a mouse. I don't know if I mentioned that before the previous night. I caught a mouse. I had those Russian MRE, like the cheese spread and the weird crap that I wasn't going to eat because it was just creepy, and some of it didn't taste that good. And all of a sudden I get up to pee, in the middle of the night, it's snowing, I get up to pee, I look over and there's a mouse. Doink, 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 and I don't know if I said this, but I thought about killing it, and eating it, show me I could survive off of anything, I can eat a mouse, which you could if you're in a survival situation like on a show Alone or Lost or whatever, you can eat a mouse. There was a guy who did an experiment who ate only lemmings for weeks and months, and the reason he did that was, it's an interesting story. He was out in the Arctic and studying the wolves, the timber wolves on there, and he noticed that the wolves typically follow the caribou herds. That's all they do. But when the wolves have babies, they can't follow the caribou herd. The caribou herd keeps going hundreds of miles and they come back in the fall or whatever. But when the wolves go to have their babies, they can't keep following these massive herds for hundreds of miles because they got babies. So what do they eat? Now this guy's trying to figure out how the hell is these wolves surviving out here. So he's watching them with binoculars and from like the side of this mountain, and he's seeing the wolves jumping around like chasing stuff on the ground. What are they playing? What are they doing, right? So he zooms in with his telescopic lens and he realizes they're eating lemmings. And he's like, to himself, he says, you might have seen this. They made a movie out of it, right? Kind of a documentary type movie. Really good. It's really good. They leave him alone out there for like 5 months in the middle of the wilderness. And he says to himself, can an animal as large as a wolf, 150-pound animal, maybe sometimes even up to 880, 200-pound animal, live off of eating lemmings, which are mice? They're basically like mice, but they live in the Arctic. And he didn't really believe they could. He's like, no, they need big animals to feed. They're big packs. They need a lot of food. So he's studying them and watching them, but they're not killing anything. He's watching them from afar. They're not killing anything big. So he says, I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to see if I can live off of lemmings for a month or whatever it was. I think it was a month. So he basically starts harvesting, trapping them or whatever he does, lemmings. There's millions of them out there in the Arctic. They're pretty easy to find. And he eats them. And he gets to the point where he just like burns the fur off of them and cooks them and then eats the whole thing. Basically like the wolves are doing. They're not cooking them, but they're just eat the whole thing, swallow it, boom. So he's scorching them, and he's showing the video of him doing this, surviving out there. And he's eating. At first, he cooks them, like he skins them, and he cuts the feet and head off. And he's like, it's such a pain in the ass because you need to eat 20 of them a day, 30 of them a day, whatever it is. So he just starts burn the fur off of them a little bit, and then he cooks them and he just eats them. And he's just like, not that bad, not that bad. So a month later, he hasn't lost any weight. He's still healthy. He's doing great. He's like, now I understand. So nobody ever knew how these wolves in the far north Arctic Circle were able to survive the summers without the caribou herds, and it was because of the lemmings. And a lot of animals live off the lemmings up there: snow owls and hawks, eagles, other predators, foxes, for example. There's a lot of foxes up there. Arctic foxes. There's a gray fox, Arctic fox, which is a white fox, and you have red foxes, and they're like, what are they eating up here? Now, I don't know if there's coyotes up there. There could be, but the odds are there's probably not. And the reason why there's not coyotes up there is because the wolves will kill them and eat them. And I don't care. Anyways, good morning. Let's get up. I'm not really. It's a little damp. Obviously, there's some snow coming through here, but it didn't pile up on me. If you were to look at maybe I'll edit and zoom in on this spot. Not that wet. Obviously, everything's a little bit damp, because snow's been falling on me and stuff. And every couple of hours, I got to reach out here and throw a couple sticks on the fire. That's what I'm doing. Get as much snow off as you can. Kind of tried to move the fire closer to me as I could. I'm almost out of fuel here, but so I'm getting a little bit wet, but not too bad. I cozy back in. I snuggle up with my space blanket. Space blanket actually helped me keep from getting wet too. Because even though some snow is coming through, man, I can feel it right now. It's not getting that when some just fell down my shirt. I got my robe on underneath this thing. I put this fleece over it, zipped it up, and I'm staying pretty dry. That's all I'm saying. Everything's naturally, it's a little damp because I'm gonna show you how. Now I gotta zip this thing up, roll it up. It's a pain in the ass. But let me get my boots on. Hopefully, there's not a ton of snow in them. I've tried to hide them under the thickest part of the shelter here, so there's no snow in there. Good, because I kind of figured I'm gonna put my boots on and get wet. I didn't get wet last night getting up to pee though, and put wood on the fire, grab wood, whatever. Maybe a little bit, but not bad. I survived. Well, kind of hoping I wouldn't have to. You don't want to put your knees on the snow. Get out without getting wet. That's the key. If you get wet, you're gonna get cold. My bellows here. It must have snowed really hard because look at how close to the fire. Like, heat rises, so there wasn't a ton of, melt, but. Now I'm going to get the fire blazing. I got a Russian tea. So I'm going to have some Russian tea. And finish breaking camp. Head back. It's beautiful. It's gonna be a nice walk back. At least I don't have to deal with the dry ground. Look at how pretty it is out there. Quiet. Maybe we'll see some tracks on the way back. Beautiful day. Not too cold. It's bearable. No pun intended. Bear. Huh? I'm gonna get some water melted, some snow melted for my tea, and then I'm going to roll up my sleeping bag, clean up my mess, which I got everything. I already packed everything in my thing there. Well, as much as I could, kind of covered it up. Just the chair and the tent and all my other stuff. So you couldn't hide it all, but it's there. Anyway, I'll be right back. I need water. Fill this thing up. Let it melt down, pack it in there. Gee, that was a stinker. Holy crap. So, I came up with an idea. Let's hope that works. I gotta figure out a better situation here. So, I gotta get a better cooking fire going. There. Put this in here. I gotta build it. What I call, I gotta make a cooking space in here. What I call a cabin fire. Log cabin. So I came up with an idea. See it? Yeah. So I got these leftover Russian crackers that are pretty stale and nasty. But I figure I can break them up. I got sugar. The thing about that Russian thing, it came with a lot of sugar. Like 3 packs of sugar. I didn't eat them. So, it smelled right in my face, as always. So what I'm doing is crushing them up, and because I'm hungry. I haven't had anything to eat since yesterday morning, a granola bar. I think I had a couple pieces of that nasty ass meat, but I ate like 2 pieces. I was like, oh, that stuff is probably not good. I don't want to get sick. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna make a rudimentary like porridge here. Some snow and some sugar, and just make like an oatmeal, if you will, out of this. We shall see how it goes. Might be good. I'm sure it will be because I'm hungry. So, while that kind of heats up, let's take a leak. I might take a few shots with my pellet gun just because it's, hey, who the hell doesn't like to take a few shots with a pellet gun? I'm just saying. Remember if I made the video, I was talking about this pellet gun. It's a 22 caliber pellet rifle. I think it's made by Gammo. Yeah, it's a. Jeez, oh Pete, that freaking protein bar ain't sitting well. I ain't eating in a day. This pellet gun shoots 1,000 feet per second. It's a 22 caliber pellet. It shoots 1,000 feet per second. Now, for those that don't know, an average 22 rifle shoots about 1,100 feet per second. The bullet's bigger. It's probably twice as heavy. So obviously it has a lot more juice and it carries a lot farther. But I keep hearing crows. Like if one of them crows lands up in these trees, I'd pop it and eat it. I'd eat it right in front of you. I'll clean it, pluck it, gut it, roast it up on a stick right freaking here. See that big tree out there? That big tree out there is about 40 yards away. You can probably hear it hit. So it says 1,000 feet per second, but I don't seem like it. Got a lot of juice though. And certainly will kill. Like I said, I shot a cinder block in half at point blank range with it, and if you shot somebody in the head at point blank range, it'd probably penetrate the skull and kill them instantly. If you shot somebody in the chest with it and it went between the ribs, it hit the sternum of the breastplate, it probably wouldn't go through. Maybe, but if you shot somebody in the through the ribs and it went through and hit your heart, you're dead. Like, oh, I'm a little stiff, sleeping in that thing. I'll shoot it through the back of my thing. Put a hole right through it, and that thing's tough too. And through and ricocheted off. It's a big giant ass red pine over there, huge. Wow, just noticed that. Some big pines in here. A tree over there. It's always fun to shoot, just saying. Even as a grown-ass man. Don't drink the yellow snow. Yeah, crow. I'll eat crow. Huh? I'll eat crow. Thing is, like I said, I could have killed that mouse and ate it. Probably could have killed a couple of them. But I'm not a mass murdering lunatic who just kills stuff to go, ooh, look at me, I can eat a dead mouse. Or I could go kill that crow. Keep hearing it over there. I could stalk through there. I've shot and eaten crows before. I've eaten crow, trust me. And I could get close enough. Seem to be, you hear them? So there's a wood line over there. Crows are extremely smart, extremely smart. I have a feeling they might be eating something dead over there. It could be a carcass, a deer carcass or something, you know, some carrion. You just got to sneak up very close and then wait for them, you know? And that's how I've done it before. I shot one time I was with my dad. We were camping, something like this, but not out in the middle of the woods. And there's a crow lands on the top of this tree. It's a good 50 yards away. And I'm like, Dad, I'm going to take a shot at that crow. My dad, this is funny. My dad goes, you'll never hit that crow. You never hit that crow. I said, I think I can hit it. He goes, you're never going to hit that crow. And so I start aiming. He says, at least get a rest. A rest means you walk up to a tree and lean against the tree and steady yourself. He's like, at least, but I'm young. I'm like 12, 13, 14 years old. So I'm a really good shot. And I've made mind-blowing shots for them before where I shoot a squirrel at 40, 50 yards in the head. And he just looks at me and goes, how did you do that? And I'm like, got this little single shot lever action 22 with open sights. I'm telling you, I can hit a nickel at 50 yards. I was actually in an NRA rifle team. And I stopped going to the competitions. It was just a local thing. It wasn't like a national, nothing like that. But I stopped going because it was no competition. I smoked everybody. There was like 10 kids in the class. And I was shooting like 93 percentile in the bullseye at 50 feet. Whatever position I was in, laying prone, sitting, kneeling. And the next closest person was like in the upper 70s. So I'm like, they were giving me pins and badges and crap. I'm like, it's not really that fun, man. Like, these kids can't shoot. And they got like custom bolt action, weighted barrel target rifles. I got this little goofy lever action single shot rifle that cost my dad like $40. And I just got good with it from shooting over and over and over. And I remember one time I was with my dad. We were at the camp, and he had his friend Mike there, who I'm still friends with. Mike will watch this. Mike, shout out to Mike. Mike V, I won't say his last name. My salmon fish. He taught me how to salmon fish. And they were sitting there, and I go, there's a squirrel over there. I'm going to shoot it. And they're like, where is it? I'm like, up in the tree over there. So they're looking at a tree at like 30 yards away, right? And I shoot the shot. Something called a CB cap, which is a little tiny mini 22 bullet. It's just a cap with no powder in it. So, it only goes like 800 feet per second. Its range is only like 40, 50 yards with it. But it'll blow right through a squirrel. And it's quiet. We were in a campground, so we can't just be shooting a 22 rifle in a campground. People would call the cops. But this little thing was just like, pop, So I aim, bang, I shoot. The squirrel comes tumbling out of the tree at like 50 yards away. They both looked at each other like, are you serious, bro? We thought it was right there. You're shooting. I got that crow that time, though. I just aimed and bang, I pulled the trigger and I hit it right in the head, blew its head off, and it comes falling down, thunk. And my dad's just like, oh, unbelievable, you know. He said, well, they killed it, now you're gonna eat it. So you gotta clean it, pluck it, gut it, cut its head and feet off, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna eat it. So we did. I've eaten seagull. I've eaten sandpiper, which is a little seabird. These are birds that are illegal to shoot, by the way. I was a kid and I just wanted to shoot them. I've eaten ducks that I killed on the spot. Somebody one time bet me to eat that I wouldn't eat an entire carp, a little one, like a 3-4 pound carp. Look, I'll give you $10 if you can eat that carp. Done. Ate it. Boom. Right there. Cooked it right there in the woods on the edge of the water. Cooked it up. Ate it. No salt. No nothing. I mean, $10 is a lot of money to me as a little kid. And then I did the same thing with a duck and worms. Somebody, same thing. Same guys. Like, I bet you $10 you won't eat a dozen worms. $10. It's no problem. I just swallowed them. True story. When I was on the prison yard, right? I remember going to work out with my boy Albert. Shout out to Albert. He'll watch this too. Albert Murray, my dude, he said these 2 black dudes want to work out with us because they seen us and we're getting in shape, we're buff. I'm kind of famous as a personal trainer. So these 2, they said, we want to do calisthenics on the yard today. So we're going to go right out in the middle of like the baseball diamond because nobody was there. And I think it was early spring. And, oh, my knee's dying here. And we're sitting there in the yard doing body squats like this, you know, body squat. And I looked over, and there's all these worms on the ground, all over the place. And this is on the grass, like in the outfield of the softball field. And there's me and Albert and 2 or 3 black dudes, right? And they don't know me. It's the first time they ever, you know, worked out with me or hung out with me or whatever. And we're doing these body squats. And I looked over and I go, oh, protein. And I pick up a worm, and I go, and I swallow it. Now, Albert kind of smiles, but he don't say nothing because he knows I'm messing with these black dudes. And they're just like, they're kind of scared of me. A lot of people were. Thought I was crazy. Just the way I carried myself, the way I walked the yard alone. I was a big muscle-bound dude. I was super strong in a weight pit, stronger than like 95% of everybody in the prison. They just thought I was not all there. So I pick up the worm, eat, pick up a worm, eat. So in between sets, I'm plucking these worms off the ground, which is gross as hell, but I'm just messing with these black dudes, I said, dude, you got to eat these. These are freaking high protein, bro, free protein. We don't get much protein in here. You got to eat these, man. And they're like, I think I'm going to pass. And I'm like, Albert, man. And he's like, I think I'm going to pass. These dudes are just like, you know, watching me eat these things. It's funny as hell. But, it was protein. I was just really messing with it. Let's see how my porridge is doing. There we go. I burnt it originally. I was cooking it and I started burning it, so I had to start over. And not start over. I just had to get all the burnt crap out of it. This is just like prison oatmeal, if you will, survival oatmeal. It's just as smashed up. The good thing about this is these crackers didn't have any salt on them, so I just added sugar to this and kind of threw snow in there. And I bet you it tastes good. I don't know yet. Let's try. Well, it's not great, but I need more sugar. But it's still a little cold because of snow. Let's get this fire popping. Some more, and we'll get it popping. You know, I was talking. I got let my fire go. Time for the bellows. Gotta have the bellows. Note how the smoke follows me. I don't know how that works, but no matter where I go, it goes. It's like almost like it's directed. I put my freaking bellows back in my survival kit. Oh, didn't think I need it. Always need the bellows. At least it stopped snowing hard. You gotta get some energy with this porridge before. This is a mistake I made. Talking into the camera, not managing my fire well. Now I got to deal with this. Stupid idiot. porridge on, man. Heat my porridge up. I gotta watch it because you don't want it to burn. Nasty, what do they call them? Gruel. Nasty ass gruel. Well, it's funny because I'll leave this thing out here, this shelter, and it reminds me of the time I found some sweat lodges in the Elginak State Forest, where I was deer hunting. I was in the Elginak State Forest ground, 1,500 square acres, where I had gone hunting, and I had shot a 6-point buck there the year before, and doe. I shot a doe the day before, came back, I camped there, and it snowed like this, and I woke up in the morning, forgot about that. I did camp in the snow. Woke up, went out there hunting, and that next morning shot a big 6-point buck. It was the best buck of my life, biggest buck I ever shot. It was only like 25 miles from my house in Detroit. And I remember I didn't get a deer the second year. I've hunted hard. I missed. I blew it. True story. Opening day, a big buck was walking right under me, and I panicked, and I shot fast, and I missed him at like 10 yards. 10 yards. Biggest buck of my life. Could not believe it. I was looking this way, and I turned around, and I looked, and right under the trees, a freaking 10-point buck sitting there. Maybe 8-point, big rack. And like my sling had wrapped over my like sight. It was a shotgun with a groove and a bead. It really didn't have a sight. It had a groove down the breech and a bead. But if you line up that groove with the bead up to 50 yards, I could hit a freaking pumpkin this big. So I mean, up to 50 yards, that was lethal. Maybe even 70 yards. And the deer I shot the year before, it was at 70 yards. I fired 5 shots and hit it 4 times, and so you know, it's a good shot. And so let me stir this. So I'm sitting there, this thing's probably almost about done. So I'm sitting there looking, hunting, and climbing the tree, my tree stand that I had put there earlier in the season. I had to put a sling on my shotgun, just like I hood rigged it, like a string. But actually, it was a strap. And then when I see this buck right there, the strap was kind of wrapped over the sight breech. I didn't care because it was so close. I just put the bead on his shoulder, pulled the trigger, and boom, my gun jammed. The reason why my gun jammed, like I really wasn't worried because I had a slug was the first shot, and then I had 4 buckshots. So I knew I'm going to shoot, and as soon as it takes off running, I'm just going to buckshot. Boom, 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 boom. There's no way he's going to get away. No way. That's how I got the deer the year before. I think I missed the first shot, but it started running, and I had buckshot. Boom, boom, boom. I nailed it. And so it takes off running, my gun jams. Bang. Why did it jam? Because I put a 3-inch Magnum buckshot shells in there, and the gun was a 1958 Belgian-made Browning semi-automatic. They didn't chamber 3-inch Magnums. They're 2 3/4 inch. So when I shot that 3-inch slug, the first shot was a 3-inch slug Magnum, it jammed in the breech. So then I'm like pulling the trigger, like, what the frick? The deer runs off. I'm like, I got him anyways. I had to get. How could I miss him? 10 feet away. Did not hit him. Not a drop of blood. I looked for 4 hours. Nothing. He got away, and I was sick about it. I went home, laid in my bed. This is how I literally went home, laid in bed. My girlfriend came home. It's like 3 in the afternoon, and she comes walking in. She goes, "What's wrong with you? It looks like you've been crying." I wasn't crying, but she's like, "What's wrong with you? It looks like you've been crying." I said, "I have been." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I missed this big buck." And anyways, so the next year, I went back there. No, I didn't. It wasn't the next year. It was later that year, after the season had closed. I kept hunting like every day, trying to get this buck, but it was too late. I was never gonna get a buck. I didn't know what I was doing. I was an idiot. I had no idea about deer hunting. I was kind of clueless. And so, let's keep this warm. And so I go back to this state land, and I'm walking around. I start finding these, like these freaking, shelters. They look like shelters, And I'm like, what the frick are those? This Blair Witch looking mother effers. I don't know. And so I get stopped by a DNR officer. Now keep in mind, I got like 10 felonies on my record. They did allow you to buy a hunting license back then with a felony. They didn't have the system that caught it. So you go walk in and say, I'd like a hunting small game license and a deer permit. And they're like, okay, boom, here you go. So he asked me for my stuff, and I handed it to him, knowing if he runs my name, I got 10 felonies. I'm here with a shotgun. It's illegal. I shouldn't. And by the way, deer season was over, and I was hunting deer. And he asked, well, what are you hunting? I was like, out here hunting rabbit, squirrels. He could have said, oh, let me check your gun, look at your shells. Because you can, if he opens my gun and there's a slug in there or buckshot, he's like, really? You're hunting hunting rabbits with buckshot and slugs? But he didn't. He just said, and I said, yo, I found these strange freaking shelter things, man. Blair Witch looking shelter things. He goes, oh, that's the Wapu Indians. I'm like, oh, the island, see, this is right on the St. Clair River. And in the middle of the St. Clair River, there's these islands, like Delta Islands. And there's a tribe of Indians called Wapu Indians, and they come over the river and go to that particular piece of land. It's just their native land. They have the right to do it, and they do sweat lodges. So they have these things like this that they do sweat lodges in. So I was stumbling through the woods hunting, looking for deer or whatever, and all of a sudden I look, what the frick is that? And so it's funny because someone else is going to come stumble along at some point around here hiking, going camping or fishing, hunting, or whatever they're doing. I'm going to walk by and go, what in the frick is that thing? Like this, and they're going to see somebody lived in there. Somebody spent the night out there. That's crazy, man. Somebody on the run maybe, or somebody just doing what I'm doing. It's funny. Oh, let's check my porridge. And I need to make my tea. I need tea quickly. So it's actually not bad. Got a little sugar. Throw a little sugar on there. So this is going to give me a little energy as I head back. I got about a mile to the quad. I'm a little worried about the quad because now it's snow. I went farther back in the woods than I did on the first day because there was no snow. I didn't really check the weather, so I didn't know we were going to get 6 inches of snow. However, the quad is a four-wheel drive, push-button four-wheel drive, so I throw it in four-wheel drive unless it hits some big drifts, in which case that's a nightmare. Honestly, it's not that bad. It's not something I would go out and buy, but it's not terrible. If I didn't burn some of it, it wouldn't even be that bad. It's a weird texture. Flavor-wise, it's just almost like bread pudding. Have you ever had bread pudding? That's kind of how it is. Get the little burnt tidbits out of there. I need tea. I'm hoping my tea is hot. I really gotta I put the sugar in there already. Yeah, I'm gonna hope it's hot enough. Yep, there's a big old pine needle in there. Should make some more before I go. Yeah. That's my breakfast. It's warm, but it's not hot. Good enough. Story of my life, as my wife says. Good enough. Still snowing. Now we'll pack it up, head back, and call it a day. Yeah, I'll show you how I gotta roll that thing up. It's a pain in the butt. Get to it. The silence. This thing is a piece of... Well, the wind's picked up, and it's not pleasant. Snowing, dumping snow. Snow just finally stopped. And the wind's this up, move all this snow all over the seat. I gotta burn it. I gotta get in there and zip it up and roll it out. But I do want to save this space blanket. I think it can be saved. I think this is great for an emergency. If you ever have an emergency, you should have one of these in your survival kit. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you my survival kit. It's not very robust, but in an emergency, look what I had. I was cold last night, didn't have any extra socks or clothes, so I had this space blanket in my survival kit, and I'm like, shoot, I thought of it, because I was thinking, do I have any other, like, clothes that I can put on? Because I was so cold. Oh, my feet were cold. Then I'm like, oh, I got that space blanket. I'm never probably going to get it back into its original. Yeah, actually, I might. It's in a little bag. Let me go see. Probably not going to get it back in this little bag. But that's all right. Somewhere I have a little, maybe I can get it tighter. Get the air out. Pop a tiny hole in it. I think I can do that. Yeah, so, I mean, it's not perfectly perfect like it was, a little perfectly folded square little deal. But if I ever have to, if I'm out surviving, got a space blanket. Let me show you the kit. Everything's covered in snow, so I don't know where my flint deal doodle is, so it's not in my kit, but my bellows is right here. Don't want to lose the bellows. Got my compass, tools, stuff like that in here, and that's where the space blanket exists. Can I get it in there and close it? Yep. All this stuff needs to be aired out when I get home anyways. Open it up. It goes in this bag. Plastic garbage bag for garbage. Rope. You never have enough rope. Fishing line. In case I have to build a fishing reel or fishing rod for fish. In that kit is some fishing equipment. It's some extra line, some hooks, jigs. You'd always find grubs and worms, even in the middle of winter. If I go rip open some logs and stuff like that, you'll find ants, you'll find grubs, you'll find bugs, you'll find all kinds of stuff. And you can use it. You just have a little hook with an ant or a slug or a bug on there. You just make a rod. It's easy to make a rod. I have a kit where it has 2 fishing rod eyes, and you can take fishing line and tie it onto the rod or use tape. I usually bring tape, although I didn't have any this time. Crank radio. Here's a hand crank radio. Why do I have a hand crank radio? Well, it's supposed to be it's supposed to be in aluminum foil like a Faraday cage to protect it from an EMP in case there's an EMP attack. Let's say I'm out here and God forbid there's a war, and I get back to my car and it don't work, and I'm 70 miles from my house. I don't know what the hell's going on. Why my car don't work? I'm in the middle of nowhere. Nobody's around. Nobody's walking, moving, driving, nothing. I can crank this bad boy up, listen, and it'll even pick up ham radio. People who are doing ham radio broadcasting. We've been attacked. There's been a nuclear blast in Grayling, Michigan, and blah 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 blah. Say anyone downwind of that, you're screwed. Blah blah. At least I don't know. So it's ham radio. And then there's this little light lantern thing. This little thing here at night. If you don't have a headlamp, I have a headlamp. But if you didn't have a headlamp, you had nothing at night, and you're trying to get around at night, you have no light. Boom. This little thing right here. It's a piece of crap, but it actually works. I think I bought it at the dollar store, but it works. Throw some batteries in it, you're good. And that's about it. I got that. My survival kit that I fan on YouTube gave me. Bag. And, yeah. That's that. Now I got a hat from last night that helped me warm, albeit not that dry. I really want to dry that out, but I guess I'll wait till I get home. That's my pillow. And my water. It's all frozen, really. There's no water in there at all. It's frozen, so I'm not gonna have anything to drink. I got some water I'm heating up, and let's have some more tea. I might heat up some more snow or ice, because I know I'm gonna get thirsty. I got a mile to walk, and I'm dragging the sled. We shall see. Let's try to get this thing in here. First things first. Let's get this thing out. Yeah. Getting this thing zipped up. I'm gonna pull it out and do it. You can see me how I do it out here. By the way, this is how I charge my phone. Gotta have one of these. I call them a charger doodle. We have big ones, small ones. I knew I was only gonna need 3 or 4 charges, so I brought the smaller one, you know. But by the way, that's how I charge my phone, which is my camera. It really wasn't doing it. I don't got internet or nothing out here, so it wasn't doing anything else. But you gotta have, so if you're wondering how I spent 3 days on my phone recording, if you have GoPro, you can charge GoPro batteries with this, whatever. Gotta have that. Me and my wife are kind of preppers, so we got a bunch of earbuds, which I just had when I came. I wasn't using them for much, really. How's my tea water coming, man? Dude, snow sucks. Because you can have a ton of it, pack it full, and it like boils down to nothing. You gotta put a ton of it in just to get a cup of tea. Just want a cup of tea, man. All right, let me pull this thing out. This little pad of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little pad of mine, this is my butt. You might not think it's much, but trust me, all the little sticks and twigs and crap on the ground, you don't feel them on this thing. I have a bigger one that's like 3-4 times thicker than this. Me and my wife use a fold out queen size bed mattress in our big giant tent that you can stand up in, and that's what we sleep on when we're camping. That, you know, this is rough, and I wanted to go minimal, and this little thing actually looks really good, man. I'm gonna move the let me show you. Obviously, when I get home, I'm just gonna wash this thing. But I didn't burn it. That's the key. It's tricky folding this thing up. It's all wet. It wasn't wet last night though. I didn't get wet. Got to be done perfectly. You gotta get it folded over just right, and then you gotta. Where's that thing's case? There it is. You gotta do this thing super tight. That's why I'm doing it on the mattress, because you don't want to get wet. As soon as you get wet, you're gonna get cold. And the wind is really picking up. It's gonna knock all the snow. And I'm walking back, dude. All this snow's gonna be blowing, falling all over me. You'll probably see it. Eton, sponsor me. You're awesome. I have put your product to the test many times, and it is awesome. Now, if I can just get it in this thing. That's the hard part. It can be tricky. Everything's damp. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Come on now. Get in there. There we go. That's it. If you get it in, the cool thing about this thing is, once you get it like this, you just do this. And this. And then you got these clippy doodles. They're straps. And then you tighten it down. One on both sides. Boom. You got your thing. Throw it in there. And then there's this thing. Roll it up. I don't have to worry about this thing because it can get wet. It don't matter. Got to roll it tight. It's got a rip in it. I got it from I got a stick in it. It's all right. It still works. I'll throw some tape over it. Some Gorilla tape. That's all I need. I fixed everything with Gorilla tape. Throw some tape over. Good to go. Bam! Like that. Just packing it up. Break my neck. I gotta put a little snow in there. Gotta clean it up a little bit. Come on now, T. Get it. That's gonna do it. Really, I don't think there's nothing else to do. I got this garbage bag. I don't really need it for anything. I was going to use this garbage bag to wrap them out my pillow. I didn't need it. I got left in my camp. No. I think I threw out all the sugar. Actually, you know what? I think I still got some sugar. I think I still do. For my tea. This is just, I'm cleaning my frying pan. I'm gonna clean it when I get home. Scrub it out. But just want to get all the food out of there, which is the cracker gruel. And then you just this is everything here. Cool it. It all fits together. My pot, my pan, my forks, my knives. It's all wet now, but if I was surviving, I'd survive. And this goes. I'll wash it when I get home. I do want some tea. I'm gonna go find some sugar. Put my survival kit away. Starting to call it a wrap, man. Breaking down the camp. What I can do. Found me one more jug. Worked out. Russian tea. I had my gruel. Oh, I just dumped it all out. It was open. You gotta be kidding me. I didn't realize it's open. I'm like shaking it, going, why is it getting lighter and lighter? Why is this thing getting lighter and lighter? Because I was shaking it. I lost it all, you dummy. Oh well. Yeah. Sugar without tea without no sugar. You know what I do? You know what I do have though? And I'm gonna try it. They gave me some Gatorade like drink type of drink mixes. A little water. I should put that. I'm gonna put this hot water. I'll show you. You got the water. The water in my jug is frozen. It's just soft. But if I put this warm water in there, it'll melt the. There's so many twigs and crap. That'll melt the ice that's in there, and I'll have some water to drink when I'm on my way back. Smart, huh? Look at this. Look at this stuff that I'm pulling out. It's a bunch of twigs and crap. Put that away. Now I got. This is Russian Gatorade. I'm gonna put it in there and make like an orange tea. I think it's orange. So I got tea, Russian tea. And I'm adding this Gator. This is just for energy. Put the rest in there. How do you stir it without a spoon? Come on. Let's see what it tastes like. Wow, good. Not barring the sticks and twigs. Yeah, it's really good. It's like an orange tea. Well, glad I thought of that. And now I got some water. That'll melt, ice will finish melting. Yep, all your garbage, all your man-made garbage should go in the fire and be burnt and gone. Everything's ready to go, packed and raring to go. Look at my stuff. It's just snowed on. Just snowed on, dude. And now I'm a little nervous about the trail. I think I showed you. Did I show you? Hold on. Take this stuff, this tape. This is the last of it. But I had a whole roll. So about every 100 yards or so, I look back. The problem is when I came in, it was snow and I could see my footprint. So I figured the snow would stay and I'd be able to see my footprints out. However, over the 3 days that I've been here, it melted. All the snow melted essentially, and now a fresh thing of snow went. So I don't know the trail back per se. I'm actually very good at it though. I'm very good at finding the trail and kind of navigating my way back. I don't know why. I'm naturally good at it. Some people aren't. But anyways, where I'm concerned, where I'm like, this is a little sketchy, I might not remember this, I'll put an orange tape, and then about 100 yards in a straight line, another orange tape, and where I can see it through the woods. I look just straight. All I gotta do is find the tape and look straight through, almost like where a trail would be, and I see the orange. Walk to the orange, I put the other piece in here. I just start putting the pieces in here and stuffing them in here as I go, and then, by the time I get back, they're gonna be packed. So, just have that. Always have that. Okay. Got all my hats, all 4 hats. My fishing pole. My other backpack is loaded. Fishing gear. This is my survival backpack. If I die, this is how they're gonna find me. I'm gonna put this on top of thing about this rod is when I go through some deep trees and crap, this lure's gonna snag it, and I might not hear it or notice it. Well, that's the end of a 3-day trip and an era. That bad weather I was kind of hoping would happen, happened. It didn't get super crazy cold because this time of year it could have got down to, could have gotten single digits. It didn't, which I'm grateful for. But I did survive 2 nights in a homemade shelter. Trekked in here, lived off the grid all alone by myself. No technology, no internet, no nothing. Off of one Russian MRE in a Russian jacket and a Russian hat. Out in the wilderness. Nothing out here. Not a freaking single sound. So now, I'm going to hike it on back. I can't wait to get home and eat, man. I'm hoping Maria's got some baked goods. That's all I'm saying. It's like cake. Anything cake I'd be happy with. Didn't kill anything, like I said. But I'm not this mass murderer. I let deer walk all the time. I spent the entire season deer hunting this year. Probably a legit 60 sits in my tree stand. Every one I averaged probably seeing 8 to 10 deers per. So let's call that, 600 deer, I guess. 60 times 8. Yeah, I mean, I saw 500 to 600 deer. Obviously, many of the deer were the same. They were the same deer. It's the same kind of herd. There were days where I saw 25, and there were days where I only saw 1 or 2. But on average, I saw 8 or 10. And I'm talking deer that are right under me. Like they're 10 feet away. I could kill them easily, including 6 or 8 nice bucks that were young bucks that were, not big mature bucks that I'm after. I'm after a big 3-year-old or better. I only saw 2-year-old, 1.5 and 2.5-year-old bucks. So I let them walk, hoping that maybe they live through the gun season and next year I see them. They're very smart. If they make it to 3 years old, they're incredibly smart, and it's very hard to trick them to come by you in broad daylight. It's almost impossible. I can't even describe how hard it is. The amount of effort, energy, and skill that goes into trying to get a mature buck to walk within bow range of you during daylight it's unbelievable. It's crazy, but can be done. My property's not particularly set up right because of the wind. Prevailing wind doesn't work to my advantage. So that's the reason why I don't get one every year. If the wind was to my advantage, then I could get a mature buck every year, but I just can't. So it's kind of like a 60-40 gamble where the bucks got 60% and I got 40%. So I'm 3 years in here in Michigan here, and in Missouri. When I came back from Missouri, I learned. I didn't know what I was doing in Missouri, but I learned a lot in Missouri. And then I came back to Michigan after learning a lot, and now I kind of realized all my mistakes. I did get a nice buck, but in Michigan a few years ago, but it was on a piece of private property where I asked the guy if I could hunt it, and he said, yeah. He said, I got some blinds there and a stand there and that. I said, I'm not going to use a blind or a stand. He looks at me like, what the frick you mean you're not going to use a blind or a stand? I'm like, no, I'm going to sit against a tree. He's like, you're going to go out there in the woods, you don't even know the woods, and you sit against a tree with a bow and you think you're going to kill a buck? I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to find where a buck is, where he's bedding, where he's eating, where he's sleeping, where he's traveling, based on scrapes and rub sign. And then I'm going to go in when the wind is right, and I'm going to kill it. And he looked at me like I was crazy. He thought, sure, pal, sure you will. And I literally did it on the first hunt. Walked in there. The wind was right. I knew a buck was around from scrapes and rubs. I knew this is his travel route and where he was going to this cornfield several hundred yards away. I had a very good feeling that a buck would come by this time of year during a pre-rut, and he did. And I saw him like 90 yards away, and I did a call, a doe bleat, and he heard that and circled around. About 15 minutes later, he came in, and I nailed him broadside at 30 yards with my crossbow, and got it on video too, which is crazy. It wasn't a great shot. You can't really see it, but it's there. It's on my YouTube. Anyways, moral of the story is not a mass murder. I'm not out here to kill a bunch of animals to survive. I wouldn't even kill them all. But I would have shot a crow though. If I could have got that in range, I would have certainly shot a crow. Or if I saw a partridge or a rabbit or something. I just didn't feel like actively going out hunting rabbits or partridge or something, because I like partridge and I like rabbits. I don't need the food. I got a freezer full of meat and I got a fridge full of food. I'm out here surviving, trying to prove something, but taking a life of an animal just to prove I can eat. Trust me, if I was surviving and I needed the food, trust me, I would have killed something. I would have ate that mouse. I would have killed the chickadees. I would have killed something. I'd eat. I was always going to be able to eat. So that's the key. If you're out here, figuring out a way to eat is the key. All right, I'm going to start hanging out. And that'd be the end of it. I'll go home. I'll edit this up, and hopefully some people enjoyed this whole series. I don't know how many videos it is, but I'm guessing at least 3 or 4. I don't know, maybe more. I don't know. We don't know. Let's find out. God bless. I'm out walking. Just in case somebody gets out of line. Saying, light them up. Working up a sweat. Take my coat off. Dying. Jake, where I gotta turn. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, I see my red tape right up there. Ah, you know, I knew there's a deer scrape right there. I mean, there's a vine hanging down that the deer used for a scrape. That's how I marked it for. I'm like, look for, if I get to that, look that way, which I don't know which direction it is. Look that way for my red tape, which I can see it. You can't see it there. It's obviously it's really dense from here, but there's a piece of red tape about, I don't know, 100 yards that way. So I'm after it. Tired and I'm hungry. Time to get home. Some oatmeal. Whew. That was a haul. Back now. Made it home, a couple celebratory donuts, had to put it in 4-wheel drive to get it going, but we're home, we're safe.